is not a blue state or a red state. This is the United States, and that's what Shawn Harris is all about. We have too many jobs where people go to work every day, but at the end of the day, they're not making ends meet. Marjorie Taylor Greene is an embarrassment. What bills have you turned into law? What have you brought back here to the district? If you got a GED or a PhD, you both should be able to work at that particular plant, work at that particular industry, and still be able to feed your family.
I'm here with Shawn Harris, who is running to be the Democratic nomination to then unseat Marjorie Taylor Greene in Georgia's 14th district. So, Shawn, as somebody who was born in Georgia, who lives in Georgia now, what needs changed the most, and why are you the man to do it?
Well, Brandon, first of all, I want to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk to you today.
Anytime.
And just jump right into your question. You know, I'm running against Marjorie Taylor Greene. I did 40 years in the military, just retired this past May, June timeframe. My last assignment was there in Israel. But what I would tell you, the reason why I'm running is because bottom line, Marjorie Taylor Greene is not representing the people here in Northwest Georgia. And people came to me and said, hey, Shawn, you need to run. You got the leadership ability. We want you to do it. And at first I was a little reluctant, but then as I got to thinking about it, look, I'm not moving anymore. This is home for me. So I said, if not me, then who? And I think I have, and I know I have the ability to beat her. And with your help and with others' help around Georgia and also the entire nation, we can beat Marjorie Taylor Greene.
And yes, it seems more and more as the years go on, she represents MAGA more than America, it seems, the right more than Americans and her constituents. I do want to say thank you for your service, very much so. Congratulations on all of that. I want to ask, though, how do you plan to defeat Marjorie Taylor Greene, somebody who is popular in her district, despite the fact that she spends most of her time being divisive, focusing on denying the 2020 election, impeachments, all of that go into political theater, rather than helping her constituents? How do you battle that?
Well, I tell you, the way we're going to do it and where we're doing it is Marjorie Taylor Greene spent all the time, just like you said, she talks about things that doesn't even matter to the people here in this district. What I'm doing is focusing on real issues that people are sitting around the kitchen table talking about. One, access to health care. Two, making sure that we have generational jobs that come here to Northwest Georgia so that you don't have to drive to Huntsville or drive to Atlanta to try to get a high-paying job. And then three, making sure that our farmers and veterans are actually taken care of. Because, Brandon, I'm not sure if you know, here in our district, we are really, really a rural district. So that means, you know, we have the cities of Rome and other places, but all these cities are very small. So really, this place is dominated by our farmers, dominated by veterans that are serving and continue to serve because these people here, like me, have kids in the military today. So they understand the importance of taking care of the people right here. And Marjorie Taylor Greene is just not doing that at this point.
Yeah, it seems that it's more about their agenda. As I said, if you were to get the nomination, let's say you unseat Marjorie Taylor Greene, you get into Congress, how would you go to bridge that gap of the divide that we see that those like Marjorie Taylor Greene are exacerbating from the left and the right, where it seems increasingly they can't work together to get anything done? How would you change to reach out and maybe be able to get meaningful legislation passed?
Well, I would tell you, first of all, I'll be who I am. I have been 40 years in the military. In my last few years in the military, I was a general officer. So I know how to work with people across the aisle. I know how to get to yes. And what I will do is instead of saying no to everything, I would sit down and say, okay, how can we get to yes and make sure that when we get to that yes, it's going to bring funding right here to Northwest Georgia to help the people here in this district. The other piece that I will actually do is make sure that we are doing all the things that when I say you hear me talk about Team Georgia, I will be working with everybody from Georgia that's actually in Washington, D.C., plus back here in the state to ensure that when we're looking at package deals for our state, we're all working together versus not fighting against each other. Marjorie Taylor Greene right now is not only fighting against the people in this district, but she's also fighting against her own Republican Party. And just yesterday or the day before, she actually just asked for a national divorce between red states and blue states. That is just wrong. I did 40 years in the military. I stand for this country. It's not a blue state or a red state. This is the United States, and that's what Shawn Harris is all about.
And that is wonderful to hear. It would also be quite the change of pace from what Marjorie Taylor Greene represents, someone who also, I'm not sure if you heard in a recent interview or was some sort of speaking event she had, where she said, if you're not going to follow the MAGA agenda, you're not even a Republican. So when she has divisive language like that within even her own party, how do you think that affects not only her constituents, but then the effect of Congress as a whole in terms of just getting things done?
Well, I'll talk what's happening right here, what I hear when I'm moving around all the different counties. Mm-hmm. And I'm proud to say that I've actually visited all the counties, and I'm going to continue to visit all the counties. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, when I talk to the people, they say to me, Democrats and Republicans and independents and libertarians say to me, Marjorie Taylor Greene is an embarrassment to Northwest Georgia. What I say back to them, General Harris retired will never be an embarrassment to the people of this particular area. And on top of that, you'll be proud to say that is my representative. The other piece that I plan on doing and making sure that happens is to ensure that everyone here in the district has great opportunities. I think right now, because Marjorie Taylor Greene is trying to separate people, it's destroying our smaller communities. My plan is to bring people back together, work to see what can we do to make things better. One, bring affordable housing here. I've already talked about jobs, but let me just say one other thing. Marjorie Taylor Greene is not talking about the farm bill. This area is dominated by farmers. I'm a farmer, like I told you earlier. But the other thing that we got to get our hands around is inside of this healthcare piece is mental health and drug addiction. So I'm going to be working, instead of separating people out, how do we bring people together? How do we work on all these issues to ensure that we're addressing the things that are affecting Northwest Georgia, the rural community? So one of the things I want you to remember about me, I'm going to always be focused on the small towns, small cities, small communities, to make sure that when I'm actually writing a bill, that bill is 100% focused on what we need here in these small towns and small communities. And that is the difference between me and Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Wonderful. Yeah. And that's very refreshing. As like I told you earlier, someone from a small town, you really see how even when funding gets passed, when these legislations get passed through in states, a lot of it goes to the bigger cities, the more populated areas, and the more rural or smaller towns. They don't see as much of that trickle down to them the way it should. I thought you said something interesting about going around to seeing all the different areas in the state and the towns. What issue do you think came up the most from voters, from you, like from the mouths of your own constituents, the voters in Georgia? What's the biggest issue in the district? And what would you do specifically to address it that maybe Marjorie Taylor Greene or others aren't?
The biggest issue that I hear every day, and this is coming from young people, older people, and just in everybody across the board. They want high-paying generational jobs. And when I say the word generational jobs, they want me to help bring jobs here that they don't have to drive 50 and 100 miles away to go and get a job. Because right here inside of our area, people get up every week and drive to Huntsville, Alabama, or they drive to Atlanta, or they drive to Chattanooga, Tennessee to get a job that's going to give them a livable wage. They said, Shawn, bring jobs here. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring a job here that when we put the jobs in, if you got a GED or a PhD, you both should be able to work at that particular plant, work at that particular industry, and still be able to feed your family. That is my goal. That's not going to be easy, but after 40 years in the military was not easy. So I'm going to roll my sleeves up and go to work, work with everybody, Team Georgia, to make sure I can actually make that happen in my first 2 years inside of Congress. The reason why I say that, Marjorie Taylor Greene, when we get to November, she'll basically be sitting on 4 years of being in Congress. The question should be asked, what have you done, Marjorie? What bills have you turned into law? What have you brought back here to the district? I would tell you absolutely nothing. So I want the people to hold me accountable when I go. And my report card would say, Shawn Harris is getting things done for the district. And I want them to hold me accountable the same way we are held accountable inside the military.
Yeah, it seems that nowadays Marjorie's main focus is more on when it's not denying the election, it's kind of trying to get revenge or impeach Joe Biden and get back at them for what's happened to Trump. I saw you said that, or I heard how you said your main issue would be high-paying jobs and bringing them back to Georgia. And I know being in the House, you obviously wouldn't have sole control over this or the wave the wand and make it happen power. But I do like to ask the candidates I talk to this question. And since you brought the issue up as well, what around do you see as a sufficient minimum wage? Are you in it should be around what the cost of living is? Do you think 15 is? Do you think it's something that needs looked into more? Where do you fall in that camp?
I would tell you it should be a livable wage, a sustainable wage. Now, if you know, the United States is very big, very broad. So what I will say is this. The minimum wage in Georgia is, I think, $7.25 right now. Mm-hmm. That is not a livable wage. Yeah. I want to make sure that whatever we agree to in Georgia, we get closer to that $15 an hour. Not going to say we're going to get there, but what I'm talking about, when I'm talking about bringing in high-paying jobs, those jobs will already come at that level and above. Mm-hmm. What I want to make sure, and I'll just make it plain to you, Brandon, what I want to make sure is when I'm driving through the district, I see the Dollar General store everywhere. They're everywhere. I don't have a problem with Dollar General, but I want to make sure that the people that work in Dollar General, the manager that works in Dollar General, and all her or his employees are actually making a livable wage so that when they come out, they have the opportunity to buy a house. They actually have an opportunity to get affordable housing, to ensure that they can also live the American dream. Because right now, that's not happening. We have too many jobs where people go to work every day, but at the end of the day, they're not making ends meet. So that's where I'm at. And in order to make that happen, going back to your earlier portion of your question, I have to make sure that I could work with people across the aisle, across the board, to ensure that whatever we get here in Northwest Georgia is going to work for Northwest Georgia.
And that's a wonderful answer. Yeah, it seems like, I mean, place to place, it's hard to tell what'll work one place will work everywhere. But the baseline of being sure that everyone has the wages that they need helps a lot of other issues like housing. If people have wages that can afford the cost of living, housing would be more affordable, healthcare, education, all of these things trickle down and become easier if the wages are there. I do have one last question that I want to get to let you put a pin in the needle on the whole conversation we've been having. I just want for all the people listening and watching, what would your main focus? We spoke about a lot of different issues in Georgia with Marjorie. As just a congressman, what would your main focus be? And be sure also you can shout out your campaign website and all that as well, because we'll be wrapping up after this, but you have the floor.
Well, I would tell you, thank you for this. My main focus is making sure that we have good quality healthcare access, make sure that we bring high-paying jobs here to the community, make sure that the farm bill actually gets passed. I know that may sound strange to somebody in New York and other places, but here in Northwest Georgia, most of the people are actually farmers like I am. So ensuring that farm bill gets paid so that we can actually not only feed the people in the United States, but continue to feed the people around the world. And then lastly, because I am a veteran, I want to make sure that all of our veterans get the health care that they need like everyone else, but also get the benefits that they have already earned. They should not have to be arguing and trying to prove something. They should be able to say, I have served, give me my benefits and move on. One of the things I just want to say, just past week, Senator Ossoff, I thought did something outstanding. He's actually asking the question, why does it take so long for a veteran to get an appointment? He's investigating that right now. And I'll be joining questions like that for our veterans to get a better understanding. Why does it take so long to get an appointment and healthcare and all those things? So access. The last thing I would say is this. First of all, if you're want to reach out and learn more about me, just go to ShawnForGeorgia.com. That ShawnForGeorgia.com will tell you everything about me, where I stand on all of the issues. And on top of that, if you want to donate, you can donate to our cause. And what I look forward to November 5th, that night, when we shock the world and they say, Marjorie Taylor Greene has just been beat by Brigadier Shawn Harris, retired, and now is a brand new day here in Georgia.
And awesome. Yes. Again, guys, ShawnForGeorgia.com. Be sure to check out his website if you want more information on the things he supports, if you want to donate, or if you just want to follow his campaign. And Shawn, again, thank you for your service. Thank you for your time in this interview. And I hope you have a great rest of the day. Until next time, my friend.
Have a good one. Thank you.